You'd have to have your head in the sand not to have noticed that this has been a summer filled with wildfires, floods, tornadoes, and excessive, brutal heat. It has been, for all intents and purposes, the summer of the year. The wildest summer we've ever had in 2023. It's fairly well known that the Bible predicts a climate crisis as the labor pains giving birth to the end times. Jesus said in Matthew 24:7, there will be famines and earthquakes in various places. It is also fairly well known that this prophecy is so general it's virtually worthless, or so it is thought. Can we do any better than that in understanding Jesus' words? Well, part of what is at issue here is that Jesus wouldn't have bothered to say it if it were that worthless and meaningless. Second, while Matthew 24 is often thought to be about the destruction of Jerusalem in AD 70, there are plenty of elements in Matthew 24 that reach beyond that event, so we can look further for meaning. In the chapter, Jesus gives clues, but no calendar, to the timing of his return. The people of God, it is implied, should be able to discern the times without a checklist and recognize that the time of the Lord's return is at hand. Jesus said, "Learn this lesson from the fig tree. As soon as its twigs get tender and its leaves come out, you know that summer is near. Even so, when you see all these things, you know that it is near, right at the door." In other words, Christians paying attention should be able to see this coming. Now, the disciples ask 3 questions at the beginning of this chapter. When will the destruction of the temple, the destruction of the temple in the city, when will this happen? Number 2, separately, and what will be the sign of your coming? And then 3, and what will be the sign of the end of the age? So we know that natural upheaval is part of the sign that all of this is beginning. Revelation 6 also speaks of earthquakes and famine, just like Matthew 24, along with other apocalyptic symbols of natural disaster. So also Revelation 8, which then pushes us beyond just calamities of nature to such calamities that are so out of the ordinary in their severity. Even so, we don't need to take the elements of Revelation 8 as specific. They can easily be symbolic language, as much of Revelation is. Now, we look to what the message of the text is more than what the prophecy is. The message God is telling us relates to his plans and purposes. And that message is, the faithless world will face destruction. Followers of Christ will suffer severely, and Jesus will return. Those are the messages of God's plans and purposes. So the question of the day is, do we have any reason to take what we're seeing going on around us now in the summer of 2023 as the fulfillment of Matthew 24 in the book of Revelation? I say it could very possibly be, because the prophecy is not specific, and we are seeing certainly a dramatic increase in climatic catastrophe. Now, it doesn't tell us what catastrophe to look for, just to look for unusual phenomena. We do know we're not looking for a single occurrence, not a single famine or a single earthquake, but a sequence of multiple events or a trend. And we are certainly seeing extreme weather, tornadoes, heat, hurricanes, floods, fires, and cold. There's undeniably an increase in crisis and disaster events this summer. The frequency and severity of these events shows both a sequence and a trend commensurate with the warnings of Jesus. But we are not yet seeing the famine that both Matthew 24 and Revelation 6 talk about, nor are we seeing what is depicted in Revelation 8. It doesn't yet rise to the level that the prophecies indicate, but that's as the scripture says. The increase is the lead up to judgment. In addition, interestingly, Joel 2 and Revelation 8 make it clear that natural disasters can, at times correctly, be viewed as the judgment of God. It just sort of makes you wonder how that pertains to what we're seeing in America, Canada, and Europe right now, doesn't it?